What was meant to be a triumphant return to the spotlight for Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex, at the 2025 Emmy Awards quickly devolved into a spectacle of jeers, heckling, and a stunningly awkward silence that left the royal visibly shaken. The King of Controversy, as some have dubbed him, was met with a brutal reality check. Hollywood's patience, it seems, has finally worn thin. The ill-fated moment came just 3 minutes into his pre-planned speech. The buzz in the room had already shifted from anticipation to unease the moment he took the stage alone, a stark contrast to his usual public appearances alongside his wife, Meghan Markle. A smattering of boos, almost imperceptible at first, grew into a roar as he launched into a self-congratulatory monologue about his journey of authenticity. This was not the Invictus Games, where he is met with adoring cheers from veterans and their families. This was the heart of an industry that, despite its initial fascination, has grown weary of the Sussex's relentless narrative of victimhood and perceived hypocrisy. The first audible heckle was a sharp, "Go back to your castle." It was a blunt, almost cruel jibe that cut through the carefully choreographed glitz of the evening. Harry faltered, a flicker of panic in his eyes, but he soldiered on, attempting to pivot to a more serious topic. The crowd, however, was in no mood for a lecture. They had come for entertainment, for a celebration of creative excellence, not another installment of the royal soap opera. The public's sentiment, once a mix of sympathy and curiosity, has soured into open resentment, fueled by a relentless cycle of tell-all interviews, books, and documentary series that have left many feeling as though they're being used as a sounding board for personal grievances. The Emmy audience, a sophisticated mix of industry veterans and A-list celebrities, represents a microcosm of this shift. They are, in many ways, the gatekeepers of the very media empire the Sussexes sought to conquer. Their cold reception was not merely a random outburst, it was a deliberate, collective judgment. It was the moment the Hollywood dream, so carefully constructed by the Duke and Duchess, began to crumble. One prominent producer, who wished to remain anonymous, was overheard saying, "He talks about authenticity, but all we see is a man who monetized his family drama. This isn't a performance, it's a career built on a scorched earth policy, and people are tired of it." This sentiment is a direct consequence of the couple's strategic decisions since their departure from royal life. Their constant media appearances, each one seemingly designed to settle another score or reveal a new layer of family dysfunction, have created a narrative so repetitive and antagonistic that it has lost its shock value and, more importantly, its goodwill. The public and the media industry alike are left wondering, what's left to reveal? This incident, coming on the heels of other recent public and professional setbacks for the couple, suggests a turning point. The initial surge of support has waned, replaced by a critical and increasingly skeptical eye. The public's fascination has been replaced by fatigue. For Prince Harry, the once charming rebel royal, Sunday night's Emmy disaster was more than just a bad speech. It was a public and humiliating confirmation that the very public he sought to win over is no longer listening. The stage may have been on fire, but the flames were fueled by the very controversies he so carefully cultivated. And for the first time, it seemed, the heat was too much for him to handle.